there's nothing specific to it. You guys have probably already done it without even realizing. When I was a wee kid and just a little guy that knew nothing much about football, I would always look around at the other players in my games and I would always think to myself, why is everyone so much more confident than me? Why is everyone so much more skillful? Why is everyone so much bigger and stronger? All I would look at was, why is everyone better than me? And I would always think to myself, confidence is just not for me. I just don't have it in me to be confident around all these other confident people. But that is just totally the opposite from the truth. There is so much more similar to you as any other player on that pitch. And I'm going to share you 3 things on how you're going to become a more confident player, even just more confident in yourself in your everyday to-day life. And the first thing has to do with self-realization, and that's the fact that every single person on that field is human. Do you really think when you're stepping out on that field and when you're playing against other players, you're the only one that's experiencing those negative emotions of wanting to go back into your shell and feeling like everyone's better than you and you feel like you have something to prove, or you're worried about parents and coaches yelling at you? Do you really feel like you're the only player out there that feels that way? If your answer is yes, I know exactly why you think that. It's because we can't see people's emotions, especially on the pitch. And that's because feelings are something we internalize, and that's something that we keep for ourselves. Few people are going to be humble enough and say, hey, I'm nervous about this game. I'm really scared about parents and coaches yelling at me. Everyone's going to keep to themselves, and so you're going to end up feeling like you're the only one that's experiencing these emotions and that everyone else is fine. Everyone else is doing exactly the same thing as you. They're all trying to put on a brave face. They're all trying to look like they're a good player. That's exactly what everyone does. And so you're no different from them. Every single person out there, there's no one out there that's Superman or just doesn't experience negative emotions. All of you are human. And so once you realize that, it gives you peace of mind knowing that you're not alone. And that's something I really want to make clear to you guys, is that you're not alone on the pitch. Everyone else is human. So you are just like everyone else on that pitch experiencing those negative emotions. So don't feel like you're alone in this battle for yourself. It's a battle that everyone's facing, especially just on a day-to-day basis, not even just in games. And so make that realization, you're not alone in this battle. Everyone's fighting the same emotions. Everyone's fighting that mental battle. It's the hardest battle to overcome in football and in life. And that's what gives me peace of mind whenever I step out on the pitch, and I hope it gives you guys peace of mind. Now, there's one thing that you can do that's physical that you can actually do and implement into your routine to make you more confident on the pitch later on, and that is pre-game visualization. And what exactly is pre-game visualization? Now, there's nothing specific to it. You guys have probably already done it without even realizing. I know we've always imagined playing in a Champions League final or in the World Cup, and we visualize ourselves on the pitch scoring that last-minute goal, taking our shirt off as a celebration, and embracing that feeling, that immense feeling of success that you get when you're on that big stage. And that's exactly something you need to keep doing before games, before practices, before your training sessions. Visualize the success, visualize the moment, and visualize how good it feels to score that last-minute goal, to make that threaded through pass that leads to an assist for that last-minute goal. It's something everyone should cherish, but that is only part of what pre-game visualization is. It also goes into being more realistic and visualizing the kind of passes that you would make in a game. So if you're a center mid, you want to imagine checking into a pocket of space, receiving the ball on the back foot, and then distributing it to a winger or your striker, or playing it back and around, and visualizing these in-game moments that happen in real time when you're actually in the game to prepare yourself for those in-game scenarios. And I think this is something everyone should be doing because it prepares you mentally for things that you're going to be doing on a consistent basis with the ball. And it can even be off the ball movements like checking into the space or making a run in behind. It really doesn't matter. It's just about preparing yourself and visualizing the in-game actions that occurs within your position. And that's not just it with visualization. There is also visualizing the bad moments as well. Parents yelling at you, you messing up a first touch or a pass, coaches yelling at you, everything going bad. and then visualizing in your head before the game, how am I going to deal with these situations when those times come? Because not every game is going to be perfect. And I wish I could tell you guys the perfect strategy to never lose the ball or always have a good first touch, but I would be lying if I told you that, because that doesn't exist. A perfect game doesn't exist. You will always make mistakes. It's an inevitable part of the game and life. You will always make mistakes, and you can't avoid that. So you have to prepare yourself beforehand for when these situations come, because it's better to not be thinking of trying to be perfect, but rather, how can you bounce back the most positively and the most what's next mentality to each scenario that you find yourself in a negative outcome. An example of this would be making that bad first touch and then the other team loses it. You visualize the parents and coaches yelling at you, but instead of dropping your head down like most non-confident players would, visualize yourself tracking back, sprinting back for the ball, and making that slide tackle that helps your team gain back possession. It's just a little detail like that that helps you mentally prepare for something that might happen that's bad in a game. Because I know that feeling of wanting games to be perfect, and then all of a sudden you make a mistake, and then you just end up having this negative self-talk and negative reflection about yourself because you thought everything was supposed to go perfectly. But once you visualize in your head things that don't go perfectly, you'll realize the realistic scenarios of each game and in life, and you'll be able to better prepare for those when the time comes. And for my last point that I wanted to talk about in this video, I could go over things like preparation, training, hydration, what time you should eat before the game, and even something like breathing practices, which I've covered in a previous TikTok video and will be covering in a future YouTube video on this channel. But my last point that I wanted to cover more is just talking with a friend before the game. It can be with your best friend, it could be passing with a teammate and having a fun conversation before the game. And the reason I wanted to talk about this and elaborate more upon it is because I feel like with myself in my younger years and with other hardcore serious footballers, this is something we don't usually take into consideration when thinking about the best ways to prepare for a game and to become mentally confident on the pitch. It's easy to, oh my god, another plane, what the? There were actually many instances I've had in previous games in my younger years where I would literally just close myself off from friends and teammates and refuse to talk to people because I felt like that was the way to prepare for a game, to close myself off and just be consumed in my own thoughts. And hey, maybe that works for some people. Maybe you just like to blast music in your earphones in the locker room and just keep to yourself because you feel like that's the best way for you to mentally prepare. And if that is something that helps you, then keep doing it by all means. And if you really feel like it helps you perform better, keep doing it. But for me, once I've realized that when I close myself off to people close to me and my friends, when they're just trying to have a little conversation or even talk about the game, it's always good to get your thoughts in the open and to voice and elaborate yourself. Because when you close off the world and focus only on your own thoughts, it's hard to keep that from consuming you. And then once the game actually comes, you can feel like these thoughts have already won the battle over you because you were so consumed about them before the game that you never had a chance to let them out. And so not only is talking with a friend before the game just something fun to do and take your mind off of your thoughts and to just get yourself out in the open, but it also allows you to bring your thoughts out into the world instead of just trapping them in here. And I know that feeling. It's not a good feeling doing that. And I would always think that to be a serious footballer, I had to not talk to people before the game in order to fully focus. But sometimes the best focus comes after just letting go a little bit, having a slightly fun conversation with a teammate. I don't want you guys to not take the game seriously. I want you guys to talk about the game prior and talk about tactics and talk about serious things. But just having a little joke around, there's nothing wrong to that. And I used to think that was a bad thing, but the more I've come to play over the years, the more I've realized that there is an enjoyment aspect to the sport that you cannot forget, especially if you're a serious footballer. And I will always be a serious player on the pitch and always try to win the moment and always try to win the game. But sometimes the best success in life comes from slowing down a little and taking a moment to have fun with a friend and have fun with a teammate and just joke around, pass around. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that is something that's helped me become a more confident player on the pitch. If you guys like that video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'll be going more over confidence tips in future videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.